it get easier for me? No. Death never gets easy. I remember my brother Joe, when he died, we were at the cemetery and the lock wouldn't lock on the casket. And I had to hold it up and looking in his face while they were fixing that lock. And sometimes I still see his face. But you have to understand, and there's sometimes when I get ready to do a funeral, most of the saints would know that I'll walk out the pulpit because it reminds me of my loved ones that I buried. And I know Deacon Josh, he said, "You all right, Pastor?" I said, "I'm okay. Give me a minute, I'll get it." Because here's what I asked God. God, this is not about me. This is about that family. Let us give them some closure. So don't think it's an easy job, because I was connected with these people. Bishop Kirksey, Mother Kirksey, Mother Neal, Elder Neal. I mean, you're talking all the way down the line. I grew up with all of them. Mother Hutchison, you're talking about Deacon Hutchison. You're talking about Mother Kent, Deacon Kent. You're talking about all these people I grew up with in the church. My daddy, my brothers, Bosco, Greg, Joe, my sister Shirley, Bruh was the one that I was wondering why I couldn't grieve so bad, and he said that's because he said you knew they were kin to you, but you didn't have a relationship with them. Something totally different. Amen. Amen. Well, see, here's the thing is, you never got counseling, did you?
I did, but I didn't know anything about that.
That's right.
The way I was brought up, I never had the education of knowing everything. We had to learn on our own.
Well, don't worry about it. Most black folk don't go to counseling. God gonna get us through it.
Yeah, I didn't even know God at that
time. Yeah, my mom, out of all of her kids she's buried, she would sit up there. And she would just be. I remember her brother when we went to his funeral in Alabama, Uncle Oscar, and she was sitting there, and that's when the dementia was there. And she said, all of a sudden it hit her. She said, "That's my brother," and she just broke down and started crying for a while. That's my brother, because it finally clicked there, and
Even with Uncle Greg.
Yeah.
Remember, she knew what she didn't know, and then as the body was going out and it passed her.
Yeah. It hit her.
Son.
Yeah. So, and none of the old school, we were taught God's going to get us through it, but I don't believe in all of that itself. I know God will get us through it, but there's a process to help me get to that point where I can be relieved from that, because it's so predictable. Every stage of your grief is predictable, it's understandable, and that's why you need trained people in the church to help people through that process. you're loving your sister and brother enough to be able to help them through the process. Deaconess Benton, for a long time, wouldn't even come in the church after her mom was buried. Wouldn't even come in the church because she was still dealing with it. But again, when you start to deal with a crisis, it helps you to get past that, and you can move on. Deacon Johnson asked me a while back. He said, Pastor Harvey, he said, when your mom passed, who's going to do the funeral? I said, I don't know. He said, well, you're her pastor. I said, that'd be kind of hard. What say?
You're going to do it. You're going to do it.
Tape of her preaching. Yeah, she sang up something. Yeah. I'm a soldier, and she be leaning back. When she go to get shot break, she'll pat her chest and keep on singing, and then they come on out. Yeah. All right. We're gonna get up out of here. We just ain't looking forward to doing that now. And thank God she started doing better. At first, it was very undecisive whether she was going to even make it through there. She had her intestines were twisted on both ends, and they cleaned her out, and then they did what do you call it? Colonoscopy, and then they untwisted. But if your intestines ever twist, they'll twist again, and so they were swollen on both ends, and so the doctor was concerned. He said, "Now if they ever bust, they said there's nothing y'all can do. She's gone." But she started doing better. She started picking up her strength. Mom was a fighter. Mom. I told him a long time ago, I ain't taking after my dad. I'm gonna take after my mom. I just ain't gonna have the dementia. Again, you got to claim some stuff. I'm already claiming driving at 90. I'm gonna stop talking about I be going the wrong way. I'm just gonna drive at 90. All right. But no, listen. Love one another. Love yourself first. If you can't love you, how can you love someone else? And I'm not talking about a love that's full of yourself and selfish. I'm talking about love that's giving and caring. One of the great attributes of love is that first loving yourself, then you can see the love that you ought to share with other people because it comes forth out of you. So please, man, please, sir, love yourself. I was thinking about that too. You remember when Shirley, my sister Shirley, they were going to pull the tube out of her. They called me and asked me where was I. My sister's in Jacksonville. I said, I'm on 95. I'll be coming through Jacksonville another hour. Well, we're going to wait on you because we're going to pull the tube out. I'm saying, y'all going to wait on me for what? We don't want to do it without you here. So I got up to everybody to talk about they forgot to took their meds. I'm the only one that took no meds. I'm saying, oh, y'all, really? Now I'm saying, I got to take some meds now, too. But I told them, I said, for those of you who have never seen this, you might, if you're squeamish, you might not want to be in here. When they pull that tube out, she's going to be gurgling and gagging because all of the fluid inside, they're going to have to suck it out, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. I said, and I told them, because I had my hand on, I was praying with her. I said, she's going to open her eyes for a little bit. I said, but within 3 days, she won't be here. And so they pulled the tube out, and some of them ran out. They were crying because that's not a pretty sight. You've been around it, so you know when they pull that tube out of them. And she opened her eyes and looked at me and looked around, and she held them open for maybe a minute, and then she closed them back. And they all came in. I said, talk to her. I said, be surprised. They can hear. They might not respond, but they're still alive. They can hear. I said, so tell her those things you want to tell her now. And I think it was 2.5 days, and she passed. So, but you have to understand something. This was the one that when she left her husband, she called me, Michael, I left that fool. She said, and she always called me, tell me where she at. She said, don't tell him where I am. I said, no problem, sis. And sometimes the Lord moved me. I drive all the way to Jacksonville just to have lunch with her and to spend time with her. It's hard when your twin kids go to the school bus and one ain't even fighting nobody but gets stabbed to death right at the bus stop. She never got past that. And the other part of that, her IQ, she was basically a genius. That's why I said I never want to be real smart, because that line is real thin and real smart people, they can cross it any time. I like to stay on the other side where it ain't so smart. It take a while for me to get to the line. All right. Brother Rick, you ain't never got to worry about crossing the line. You be all right. Let us all stand. Lordy.